Hey guys, Crystal Lynn. We'll hop on this few minutes and well, I'm sure that a lot of you, especially those that don't know me, are wondering, what's my story? What happened to me? The reason for my disability. Well, I could go on and on and on, but so it was a firework accident. Um, people automatically assume I was in a car wreck. And when you say firework, they say, oh, fire. No, no, no. A firework accident. It's not something that's really reported about or talked about. I never heard of anyone being injured in a firework accident. Uh, and there was a 3-inch artillery shell mortar firework. So not just a firecracker. Don't get it twisted, it's a firework. Everything was followed safely to a team, but the firework was faulty. Sometimes you do fireworks next off the side. Well, that's what this did. And I wasn't even lighting it. I was just standing over on the sidelines, to enjoy the show. And it hit me in the face, and I was told it went on up and ignited in the air, went off in the air. Because the firework goes off twice. Once and then another to explode. So, thank goodness it wasn't the big boom, because Christy wouldn't be here. No. And I'm only here by the grace of God. I believe that. You know, everyone thought I was, just my character, everyone thought I was pranking, but I wasn't. They're like, oh, get up, Christy. I wasn't pranking. It's pretty bad. The EMTs didn't expect me to live to the local hospital at TJ Sampson. And then it was there that the nurse had told my father not to expect me alive at the University Little Trauma Hospital. And I can imagine what that did to him. How he must have felt driving over 100 miles, not knowing, if he was ever going to see one of his daughters alive again. But by the grace of God, I'm alive. But, I've never felt sorry for myself. Oh, God, Christy can't walk unassisted. Blah, blah, blah. Not once. I'm very grateful and blessed by my Creator. Oh, hallelujah. And, but anyway, I've never felt sorry for myself. But I do feel bad about what it done to everyone else, how it made everyone else feel. It affected not only me, but my family and friends, extended family, my roommate, everybody in my community was felt about this. Things happen. You never know. Just faulty firework. I used to do. I've always been a very, very outgoing person, and my friends are like, "Well, we just can't believe it's something so subtle." That and everything I've done is a firework to me up. And I've got stories upon days of stories that it could happen at any given second. But it was a firework. But that's what I say. Adults, they don't ask. I wish they would. I'd love to tell people about the danger of fireworks, but adults don't ask. Children do, and Uh, I have fun with that. Because they're like, oh, what happened to your eye? I didn't eat my vegetables and it fell out. Or I didn't brush my teeth and it fell out. Or I didn't stop peeing the bed. It fell out. But then I go on to tell them what really happened and the dangers of fireworks and be safe and all that. But for me, I had some fun with it. The greatest story, still my best story today. See, I do my own water therapy at the well. And I try to do, a mile worth of laps twice a week. But anyway, I used to have to use the hydraulic chair to get in and out of the pool. When I first started going, probably 3 or 4 years after my accident. 3 years after my accident. Anyway, there was this little boy in there, and he was fascinated by lightning. And he's like, oh, you're the most awesome person I know. And he was just so, building me up, and he's like, what happened to you, lightning? I said, no, a firework. He said, lightning and a firework? I said, yeah, buddy, lightning and a firework. And anyway, so fast forward a couple years later, I graduated to using the stairs to get in and out of the pool. But there was a whole group of kids there that day when I was getting out of the pool. Now, one of them was the boy that was from a few years past. He said, hey, I thought you was disabled. I used to be. So I'm glad very grateful that they could see someone with a disability or someone in a wheelchair swimming, to know that, a disability or a wheelchair does not define you. So I'm very grateful for that. But also in that group of kids was this little redhead boy. And I had graduated to swim in the deep end. I was back swimming in the deep end. And, but the little redhead boy had said, what happened to your eye? I said, oh, man, I lost it back there in the water. He turned to his friends and said, gross! She lost it in the water. That's so one of my favorite stories of all time. But yeah, the adults don't ask on what they're afraid of, and they'll just stare a lot, just stare. Every once in a while, you get an adult ask what happened, but 99% of the time, it's just stares. But the children, they crack me up, and so good-hearted, and but a lot of the younger ones like, you got 2 eyes, or I got 2 eyes. How come you only got one? Or I remember one time I was with my niece, and we picked up my little nephews, and my little nephew Axel, he was young. He's probably just like 3, and Parker, I don't know, 9, no, 8, and anyway, we got them in the car, and they're like, hey, Chris, how did you get here? I said, I walked. And Parker said, you can't walk. And Ax said, her can walk all by herself. Because, he's 3. He can walk. He thinks I should be able to walk. But I love those nephews, niece and nephews. They're fabulous, Can't wait to get back to being funny, Christy, that can do everything. I miss them so much. But anyway, parents think that it's just a sparkler. Just a sparkler. Do you know sparklers burn at 2,000 degrees? That's how I found out some medals. In 2015, there were estimated 1,900 emergency department treated injuries related to sparklers alone. 800 bottle rockets. So next time you think it's just a sparkler, a lot can go wrong. In 2015, which was the year of my accident, in 2015, there were 11 people die from firework-related injuries, and 10 of those were fireworks shot from mortar too. And one was a man making illegal fireworks in his garage. I cannot explain the dangers. I cannot stress you the dangers of fireworks. 2015, two NFL players, one from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and one from the New York Giants, were dismembered by fireworks. One had his index finger and portion of thumb amputated, leaving the other player with two fewer fingers and the loss of millions of dollars in contracts. My advice to you is please leave it to the professionals. Fireworks are dangerous and stupid expensive. So why not go? Your community has these big fireworks shows. Why not go to those? They're free. They're safe. Throw a blanket out in the yard on the grass and watch the show. Enjoy the free show. They shoot thousands and thousands of dollars in fireworks. And no rest of you. Not any money. I just can't stress you the dangers of fireworks. And before my accident, I was careless with fireworks. I shoot fireworks out of my hand. Me and my cousins, we had bottle rocket wars. Shooting in my hand. I had holes in my shirt, and we're driving in the road, and you're like black cats, and you throw them out the road. The day of my accident, one of my nephews was with me. He was 7 years old. I was teaching him how to race bottle rockets on the road. How you lay them down the side, race them. I was teaching him. My little sister was furious. I said, "Oh, he's old enough." Like I was stupid careless with fireworks. And 6 hours later, I blow my eye out. No, actually, I didn't do it, but it happened. Well, like I said, I used to do all kind of things, and I've got stories upon stories for days. And so at the rehab, I tell my therapist stories all the time because I love to talk. And they're like, "Christy, we're surprised we haven't met you before now." Like I said, my friends are like, "Well, we're surprised it was something so subtle, just took me out or whatever." But it can't take my personality, can't take my character or whatever. I'm still me. I'm here. But anyway, I just wanted to say, if you see me out, ask me. Please, just don't stare. If you see anybody and you're wondering what happened, I'm sure they would love for you just to ask them so they could tell you. I mean, there's all kinds of situations and things that happen that some of them are almost unbelievable. Or you get to testify, you hear the testimony of the good Lord. So next time you see someone and you're wondering what happened, whether it's me or someone else, just ask them. Don't stare. because I know that they'll be more than willing to tell you and tell you their testimony. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll be back soon. Love you guys. Be humble, be kind.